Good evening, everyone. Give me a second here. Let me refresh here. There we go. We are live. So, we continue the quest of exploring these Loadbox slash speaker simulators. So, I'm reading the manual for the one we're testing tonight, which is the Palmer, which has been a very known and trusted name in this kind of thing for a very long time. Every studio I've been in has one. I've seen tons of people using these live, including Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, Joe Bonamassa. Whether or not it's something they use all the time for every tour, that's a different story. Things change. I totally understand that, but I also want to clarify why I'm doing this in the first place. Because that that question came up. Well, if you have cabs, why do you need these things? It's for when I want to be silent. It is not for recording. For me, it is not for recording. I will never use that to record. I will stick many microphones on many different cabinets, as I have always done, and will continue to do so. It is simply for right now, to serve my purpose right now, to play with my amp, the feel and the sound of my amp, but silently. That is the goal. Very simple. And, excuse me, again, as I've said many times before, sorry, give me 1 second here. Refresh the page here. As I've said many times before, I have a Kemper sitting right here. I've had various versions of the Axe Effect stuff, and it's all cool. And I have Positive Grid's Bias, and I have the Universal Audio plugins, the Friedman plugins, the Marshall plugin. I was just playing with the new Fuchs plugin. All very cool stuff. But for me, in my hands and my ears, nothing replaces the real thing. So, if I have the need to play silently, to offer a direct injection from the amp into this kind of thing late at night, I want to find the best possible solution for that. So the other day we tested the Mesa Cab clone. It wasn't bad at all. It has a feel kind of thing, bit of a sound thing, but for the most part I was actually quite impressed. So today I have this one, the Palmer. This is the PGA-04. It's their newer version. It's the blue one. For anybody that cares, it's about $700. And it has a bunch of different controls on it so that you can get different colors and hopefully dial in something that sounds close to your speakers. While remembering that physics will not be replaced because it's not pushing air. So we do always have to take all this stuff with a grain of salt, and we hope for the best. Hey Anthony, how are you, buddy? Again, I'm also wanting to try the SIR reactive load, which is a newer technology in this kind of thing, which is supposedly on a totally different level. Looking forward to trying that. Hey Peter, hey Lou, how are you, buddy? Hey Rod, hey Bill, how are you? Will cost play a role in this decision? No, it won't. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant or anything like that. It's just, this is what I do every day. I'm going to get the right piece of gear for what I need it, for what I need it to do. Hey Steve, how are you? So yeah, the cost is not. I mean, these things, even the most expensive ones, really aren't that expensive. For what I don't want anything digital. I'm not the two notes, the torpedo stuff, great. But I don't want anything digital. I don't want anything that I need to connect to a computer that needs updates to load impulse responses. I get it. I totally understand them. I've used them. I don't want any of that. I want non-digital. I don't want computer-based. I just want simple stuff that sounds good, and I believe that it exists somewhere out there. I'm hoping. Hey, Mark, how are you? So yeah, we're gonna fire this one up here in a second. I'm just give it a couple minutes, and let people catch up and get in here. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to trying the Sur one. And I know that Fractal is coming out with a reactive load box as well. And again, it's supposed to be a different level, supposed to react better. It's supposed to be more like your speakers. So hopefully it actually is. And we will see. I'm going to acquire that stuff one way or another. Probably the Sur one. I don't think the Fractal one is out yet. But acquire it and give it a test. And I also, like I said the other day, I want to test the Fryette Power Load, but that's not out yet. I also want to test the Rivera Rock Crusher recording thing. But again, these things are not super easy to even buy. um, I have the Whir 43. I've never heard of Whir, but I'm open to any suggestions. Absolutely. Cheers, everyone. Hey, Butch, how are you? So, let's take a listen to this thing, shall we? I'm going to switch cameras here. And now you guys can see what I'm looking at here. I've got this thing just sitting here on my desk. And it's a passive box. There's no power involved, but the LEDs do light up as it is receiving the feed, the load from the amp, which is cool because you can see how much it is, taking that load right there. I am drinking Yingling Black and Tan, my drink of choice. Hey Vincent, how are you? And again, we can see here, and I was just reading the manual because we've got a couple of different things. Volume, and this is the volume, from what I understand, this is the volume for the voicing, which it has a variable low and a variable high, and then it's got a color switch like brown and light. Light is going to give us more high end, brown is going to make it a little more MIDI and darker. And then we have this full range, which, from what I understand, well, you know what? I actually don't really get it. I don't understand what that's for. So let's take a look here. This says, full range controller can also be trimmed in the upper frequency range by means of a very steep filter. Combination of the two approaches, meaning the filter and the colors here, the voicing and the full range. But what the hell is the full range? Oh, here we go. Full range volume control determines the volume of the unfiltered frequency band. This makes it possible to produce the sound directly in the console to create simulated guitars, which is very popular when playing with a clean sound. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I just want the damn thing to sound like a freaking speaker cabinet. So I don't care what this says. We're going to twist these knobs until we find something that actually sounds right, if at all. Again, I don't go into these tests here for these things with any kind of hope, because again, we're not pushing air. It's not super going to sound the way we want, but we're hoping that we can get it close. Sorry guys, let me just read a little bit more about here so we are all on the same page. Does moving air matter that much when playing live? Yeah, absolutely. Believe you use in-ears, so hearing a mic'd cab anyway. Right, yeah, moving the air and being captured by a microphone is, that's compression. There's so many physics that are involved in what's happening, and that's the sound, This simulated, emulated, profiled, etc. stuff is all great and all, but it's not actual this. This is not happening. Again, all well and good, and I've used it all. For me, I have to keep saying this like a parrot. For me, because I get people that email in, well, why don't you like this? Why? Because for me, I want the real thing. I want those speakers moving. The age of the paper on those speakers, whether they're new, which is fine, super tight, a lot of high end, or this is a 2004 cab with English-made greenbacks. So 13 years old. It's got a beautiful, warm kind of sound. That's what I want. It's just me. It's just what I want. Clean funk guitars often recorded direct, full range mixes that in dry signal without the CabSim. Got it. Thank you for that. Let's see if this says anything else about that. That's really it. It says for extra clean sounds, it's recommended to mix in full range without activating the high cut. In this way, one can come close to the sound of an acoustic guitar. Let's just play it. And let's see what it sounds like. You can talk about honey all day. You can do a PhD on honey. But you can skip over all that when you stick your finger in and you just taste the damn stuff, right? So, let's taste. Okay, so let me explain what I'm doing here and the way that I have things set up. Okay, so obviously we got the PRS going into the Friedman here, and I am on the Plexi channel, which I can make. Somewhat clean. It's still, the gain is still about halfway up. So, let me give a quick tune up here. Sorry if it's a little hot, I don't want to blow your ears out. So, I have the volume, this says filter down here, which of course you can see that. I have this all the way up, and I have the full range all the way up. So there's the full range all the way down. So I'm assuming that this is not going to do anything if I have the full range volume off. So all we're dealing with right now is the voicing controls, the color control, and the filter volume. Same settings on the amp as when you did the cab clone. I have the gain, well, actually yes. I was going to say I have the gain up a little bit, but it is I mean, we're talking like from here to here, so it's not much at all. So if I kill the filter volume, we got nothing. So we got to bring that up. Because I'm essentially using this as my input right now. So we're just going to leave it right there. And I'll tell you, just like that, I think it sounds pretty good. You know, and I keep snapping it, I keep popping it. Because when I play into digital stuff and you pop, it just doesn't have any feeling. Again, to me, it just doesn't have any kind of feeling to it. So when I do this, that's why this route for me is really nice, because I'm still playing through a real amp, and the real amp is getting affected whether I play nice and quiet or I start, getting a little more aggressive and dig in. The amp is certainly going to react. So that's really nice. That's why I'm kind of going this route. And it reacts like an amp. That's why I'm doing this. Again, the digital stuff just doesn't do it for me. Okay, so the voicings here, we've got a low and a high, and this is why I really like this one. And before we end, we are going to plug the cab clone back in and do a direct comparison. But I like this one because it has this variable control, whereas the cab clone, not that it's better or worse or anything, but the cab clone only has switches, on or off, and that's it. This is cool because we can dial in more low end or more high end, and I think that's pretty beneficial. So right now they're just straight up the middle here. And it sounds pretty good. So let's just take the low here, and we're going to move it to flat. All the way up to deep. So it's doing exactly what you would expect it to. Bringing it to deep is giving us a nice amount of low end depth to it. But if you want it to be flat, it still doesn't sound anemic. It's just that we're dialing in more to compensate, what a speaker might be giving you one way or another. I kind of like it straight up the middle, which is kind of where I start everything. Pedals, amps, whenever I test any of this stuff, I kind of put everything right up the middle. Hey Fred, how are you? How does it react when you smash your guitar like a rock star? You let us know, Ken. We'll leave that up to you. So let's do the same thing with the high here. So we have, on this side it says mellow, and on this side it says bright. So let's start on a mellow. Certainly, it's kind of a tone control. It brought the tone down for sure. And bright. again, I mean, it's really nice because we can dial in. If we find that the signal is just too bright, you can start bringing it down here to mellow or not bright enough. You crank it up here towards the bright side. And again, that's why I like these variable controls versus just switches that are on and off, because we can dial in as much as or as little as we want to taste. Does it run an effects loop? No, it's not about that. The amp, we are coming from the amp, so the amp has the effects loop. And I have a Strymon Timeline and a Strymon Big Sky in that loop for my wetness. So you can hear a little bit of reverb and a little bit of delay, but this thing doesn't need to do that. This is just a load box and some sort of cabinet simulation type of thing. Should tune correctly the first time, shouldn't I? A few more beers and everything will sound great. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've got no idea what that fandangled box is doing. All I know is that the tone you've got is absolutely immense. Good. I'm glad to hear that it's coming across to you as something good. Hey Andy, how are you? So is it worth 3 times the Mesa? It's not 3 times, it's like 2 point something times. I don't know yet. I'll have to compare them directly and then do some recording with it. Again, I have no intention of using this stuff for recording. I have no problem cranking up my amp and putting a microphone on it. This is simply for when I want to play silent, but I want the feel and the sound closest to my amp and cabinet situation with nothing digital about it. No impulse responses, no USB cables and constant updating and all that kind of stuff. I'm way over that stuff. Again, just me. So is this some sort of like direct box for your amp? Basically, yeah. Hey Matt, how are you? Okay, so in our voicing still, we have one more thing here, and that's this color. So the whole time that we've been listening to it so far, it's been in. So we're getting a bit more brightness and stuff from this control that says light. So let's take it out and listen to brown. Let's play the light first. By the way, I keep playing the same stuff over and over again for a reason. Because you need to play the same thing over and over again and then change stuff and do the same thing. If you keep changing all the time, your comparison is just a little saturated. It's a little watered down, so I prefer to do it this way. So if anybody gets bored of listening to me play the same licks, I understand why. So yeah, the brown is nice. It's mellowing things out kind of automatically. I think it's tucking back in, or it's bringing out some of the mid-range and tucking back in some of the upper mid and highs. And if we come back here to light, it's poking out more of the high and upper mids. Yeah, so if we go to the brown sound, but we bring up the high, it's still, even though we put it on the brown sound, so it diminished the high end a little bit, but I took the high contour here and I brought that all the way up. It's still a pretty different sound happening. you know, it still has a lot more mid-range to it. Here, if we do this versus the I'm sorry, that here's the brown sound with the high all the way up. That's a lot of mid-range. And that's cool if that's what you want. By the way, I'm playing the neck pickup here. So here's the light part again. And back to the light. Yeah, so I like it. I think I like it on the light because the brown is sticking out. Certainly a lot more mid-range, and you know, PRSs in general are mid-rangey and bassy, and the Friedman has a good amount of mid-range, even though I literally have the mid control on 1. Inherently, they're a bit mid-rangey. I kind of like this thing so far with just the voicing straight up the middle and on the light switch. Again, let's do a little comparison between the light and the brown. So you can hear, I mean, way more top end. I just like it. It's nice and present without being an ice pick in the ear. Again, for a freaking direct box, that's really nice. Brown. So if you do want to tuck down some of those higher ends and bring out a little more of that, you know, mid-range. Not bad at all, but excuse me, I like the light part better. So we're still not engaging any of this full range part so far. We're just using this, and I think it sounds good. I think it sounds really nice. Yeah, I mean, that's really nice kind of as it is. What about the tone difference with the dirty channel? We have not gotten there yet, Larry. We will get there. When I do tests, I do everything on the clean channel, and then I switch over to the dirty channel and I do it all again. Light definitely cuts a bit better, but not harsh. Right, it's not really harsh, and if it was, we could bring down the high contour here, this high voicing a little bit. So it's nice so far. So let's bring in this full range a little bit, and again, according to the manual, it's supposed to bring back in more clean sound. So I think that just grabbed what it's receiving from the amp, and it's just offering it up unfiltered, uncolored, any of that kind of stuff. And I don't like it. I don't like that direct sound at all. My amp has a line output that I could do the exact same thing with, and I never use it because they suck. Every line output direct out just is lifeless and yeah, it gets fizzy, and I don't really like it. Now they do have this high cut on here which should help. So let's engage the high cut. Here is the full range all the way up, again mixed in with all of this stuff. So I think it helps a little bit. I mean, let's get rid of all of this stuff over here. So this is all off now. All of this is off. We're just using this section right here. And no, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. But again, that's like, again, the amp has a line output. This is basically what that would sound like. It's not terrible, and you could use it to reamp, and I know that that's what a lot of people do, but I'm not a big fan of that. But let's engage the high cut here. I mean, that sounds way better to me. I don't know if it's coming across to you guys the same way, but it just falls apart. It's very sterile with this out and just using the full range. Like just plugging straight into a DI box or something. And yes, I know a lot of recordings do that, and I know a lot of people will split their signal and go straight into a console for reamping purposes later, or for like super clean stuff. Again, I'm not really looking for that. Yeah, that sounds like I'm plugged into a home stereo. Maybe a little bit better. But no, that's not working. So if we bring in the high cut here, we're at least getting some semblance of something we're used to. But yeah. And again, I guess the whole point is so that you can mix in some of your direct full range kind of sound here with the cabinet simulation, which I'm assuming is intended for more 90-something% of this part over here. You know, it's cool. It's cool to have options. Again, a lot of studios record a dry direct signal. I can tell you, I've never done that. If I want super clean, I know that people do that. I do know that, but I never got it. I never understood that, because I'm just going to plug into a nice clean amp and mic it and still go through the same process instead of going direct, because I think it just has far better feel, much better character. It's not so sterile. You know, of course, you can doctor it up later and stuff, but you know, it is what it is. I would just rather mic up one of these twins or deluxes. Okay, so let's bring back in what we're all considering the better part here, which would be the filtered section. And now we're back to having something that sounds like a cabinet. It sounds much better now that we have this part mixed back in, and let's just take this part out completely. that sounds much nicer. Full range back in. I mean, it's louder because we're kind of getting two parts of it put together now, but and back out. Okay. Cool. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Now that we know what's happening with it, and we understand that this side of it is going to give us more of what we're looking for. But it is clever of them to put this back in because it's a very useful tool. Again, because a lot of studio recordings do go kind of direct, or at least part of it, goes direct. So. Still has the sensitivity, which is nice. All those pops are coming out, but they're not harsh like what happens when I play the digital stuff. I like the 2-note stuff for this. Yeah, they make good stuff. I just don't want anything digital. Okay, so before we move over to the dirty channel, I'm just going to throw on some pedals here because it's always a nice test to do as well to see how these things react to pedals. Digital stuff just falls kind of apart when you start throwing pedals in front of it, although I do it fairly frequently just to give it a little help. So here's the Analog Man 808 with the gain all the way up. Cool. Here's the DS1. I gotta get this stuff Unity. Hang on. Okay, good enough. And here's the Prince of Tone. Prince of Tone, Analog Man Prince of Tone is really, really nice. And again, here's the amp by itself. it's a totally different flavor, and that's in boost mode with the drive all the way up. It sounds really nice. All those pedals sound really nice, which again is just a nice little test because again, the whole point of this is to be able to use my amp at any hour, but still have the feel and the sound of my entire rig, and or at least get close to it. At least get close to what the cabs are giving me. Have you tried the Legacy drive with the cab voiced output? No, I do not have a Legacy drive. Okay, let's try the dirty channel. Sorry, I don't know why I can't tune tonight. Okay, so again, I'm playing through the small box 50 over here. On the dirty channel now, gain is about 3/4 of the way up. And again, we're just using this side. We're not using this side. So we have the same kind of thing. There's the low end. You know, it's doing what it should be doing. It's adding in a nice amount of depth. That sounds good. And then here's the high. We'll put it all the way down here on mellow. Obviously very bright. You know, these two controls here, they're called, you know, when things like this react like that, they're called musical, because you don't have to turn it all the way one way or another for it to actually do what it's supposed to be doing. It does something all the way through. That's why I really like that. And then let's switch over to brown. I mean, all of these controls are way more pronounced over this channel than they were over the clean channel. So there's a huge difference between brown and light now. The same principles, but I mean just way more. That brown sound is way too mid-rangey for me. But to be honest, the light side with the gained up channel, I think it needs to come down a little bit in this high. And this is always the problem with this, you know, direct/digital stuff, is the high, your extremes of the frequency ranges are neglected, you know, and they fall apart in the low end, they get flubby, and the high end gets sizzly. And I'm hearing a little bit of that with the high right here in the middle, so I'm going to try and bring it down a little bit. this is totally to taste because I don't like a lot of high end at all. I really am sensitive to a lot of high end, so I do like it a little bit. What some people would even consider a little dull. But I like it a little bit like that because then I can bring the whole thing up and it's not that ice pick in the ear kind of thing. I think it sounds really nice. I mean, that's a nice sound. Okay, so let's take that out and let's bring in our full range side here. Yeah, exactly what I was saying before. It's like the direct out of your amp straight into a DI box with no cab at all. It falls apart. It just sounds terrible. It's like you plugged into your home stereo. And that's way worse. That 6K cut really makes a huge difference. But it still sounds like ass. So let's bring back in our filter. So here's the full range and the filter. And let's get rid of that full range. Yeah, I mean, it just sounds more real. It just sounds what we're going for here. So yeah, I mean that's this side certainly is the side that would be used. But it's given us the the character of the amp again, which is awesome, and that's what we're going for. Cool. Okay, so we've listened to it. I am going to switch to the cab clone again now, and we're going to listen to that. So I'm going to bring you guys back over here, and we'll take a minute. Just so now we have our ears wrapped around. It would be nice to just have everything hooked up to an A/B box to just immediately switch from one to the other without stopping. However, I only have one small box 50, so if I use a different amp, it's not. I don't do comparisons like that because it's not the same amp, so it's kind of pointless. So we're gonna just take a minute and do it this way. So we're going to grab the cab clone. I'm going to mute that. Okay, just a minute. Let the amp warm up again, and we will test everything with the cab clone again. Hey Emmanuel, how are you? Dave, what kind of pickups are in that guitar? Haven't seen you play. They are called the 5815 LTs, which stands for low turn. So they're mellow pickups. They're lower output. They're vintage voiced. They sound great. Really, really nice. Okay. Let me get myself out of the way. Bring this over here a little bit. So we're back in the cab clone. Woo. Really hot. Hot mic, hot mic. So there's the clean channel again. Color switches that we have here is this: open back, close back, and vintage. And again, if you remember, we were talking about how the open back kind of was the best of all of the choices here. Trying to get the level close to what the other one was. Yeah. So, I see a lot of people saying the cab clone sounds more organic. I'm listening on an iPhone, but the cab clone sounds more authentic, et cetera, et cetera. And it very well may. I mean, what I'm hearing back here is not, it's super quiet, and I need to put my headphones on and go through this again and just listen and decide. Because you're getting a direct feed, and I'm getting a direct feed, but it's really, really quiet where I am. I'm not sold on either, because it's not just a sound thing; it's a feel thing, and I got to go back and forth between the two to really hear the difference and feel the difference. I mean, they both sound good. This one certainly sounds really nice as well. said the other night, I use the volume knob on my guitar all the time to control the amp, clean it up, just do that kind of stuff. Digital stuff just doesn't do that for me. It just doesn't have the same, not even close to the same feel or sound for me. I hate that I have to keep repeating myself, but I'm tired of getting emails saying, well, why don't you like it? I like it. Oh, well, I should just live my life like you then. But I can tell you right now that this Mesa cab clone is definitely, it's doing its thing to it. It's great. It's very different from the Palmer. It's very different from the speakers. It's got its own version of the color of the CabSim to it. And it does sound good. Okay, and just for fun, one more time, let's go back to the Palmer. Okay. I gotta mute this before I tear your heads off with a loud pop of the mic cable. Let the amp fire back up. Okay, so now we're back down here. Guys, that sounds and feels different. To my ear, the high end is sizzling. But I just brought down the high on the voice here, and that seems to fix it nicely. Yeah, I mean they both do a nice job. The cab clone is less flexible, but it sounds very nice. I honestly think this sounds more like a cab than the cab clone does. But it's always going to be a compromise because we're not using a cab. They both have their good parts and a little bit of a bad part. But I do agree with Peter saying that I like the flexibility of the voicing as long as the high-end sizzly thing can get under control. for the most part it is. I mean, I could bring it way down. Of course, then it's way, way too quiet. Yeah, they both sound good. I don't have a clear answer. After this, I'm going to continue testing, but with my headphones on, because that's really how I'm meaning to use them, is silently as far as out here and just pretty much through my headphones. And also, when you're pumping something through your headphones and you're playing, you will get, it's like putting it a little bit more under a microscope, and you'll get a little bit more of a picture of what's happening. So far they're both not as bad as I thought they would be. That's kind of where I leave that. They're both not bad. They're both not bad. I am interested. I'm very much so looking forward to trying the reactive load box that they've got, and partnering it with their CabSim little thing. They have the load and then the CabSim thing called the Ace. So as soon as I can get my hands on them, we're going to do another demo and keep on our quest. Rolling off takes the fizz away and some of the clarity. Just doesn't sound as alive, liking the cab clone. Cool. Ran across this session. Very cool. Have you tried the Sur reactive load yet? That's what I was just talking about. Yeah. If not, mine is collecting dust, and you're more than welcome to try it out. Let me know, and I'll ship it to you. Thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate that. Maybe I'll take you up on that. I do have an email into Sur to see if I can just borrow some, and we'll see if they get back to me. And if not, then we'll wrangle them up another way and try them out. But so far, I mean, I do like them both. I think, it's hard to say one or the other. Neither of them are glaringly like, this is the clear choice to me, to my ears, to my hands. Neither of them is really pulling ahead. So I got to do a little more investigating, like I said, with the headphones on. But I'll let you know what I come up with. But it sounds nice. It's reacting. It's sensitive. It's just a really nice thing for me to be able to plug into my amp and get the majority of the picture of the amp without, cranking cabinets, And again, this is just for right now. When I move, this will all be moot. I will not use any of this. Because once I move, I'll be able to crank my amps anytime I want. So this is a very, I don't know. It's always useful though, right? Maybe the kids are sleeping, whatever else. I mean, I don't have kids right now, but in the future, the baby's sleeping, kids are sleeping, the wife is sleeping, etc., etc. That's when this kind of stuff comes really into play. And I play all the time. And I love to play at night, so that's why this search began, is to find this kind of thing without having to use anything with ones and zeros. I don't want to deal with that kind of stuff. Hey Jay, how are you? I'm on a beach in Panama and the Wi-Fi keeps cutting out, but I'm trying. Okay. Good luck. Definitely want to see the demo with the Sir combo. I have the Sir Reactive Loadbox, but I'm using IRs with it. Just found out about the Ace today. Very cool. Guitar Blue Box is from the same guy that created the Blue. Yeah, I looked into that. That's kind of like Sir's Ace. I'd have to look into that again. Yeah. Moving before the South American tour, no. Yeah, if anybody else is out there paying attention, or at least in South America somewhere, you might start seeing tour dates have been released. I think they came out today. We're going to do the Passion Warfare tour is coming to Mexico and South America, all over the place. So if you're down there and you're coming out, very cool. You have a lot to look forward to. Are you moving to the middle of the jungle? No. I wish. But again, it's really nice to be able to just plug into my amp and get most of what it's for, but either super quiet like it is right now, or silent. And that's a different kind of thing. It's really nice to have that feel. Hey Dave, we'll see you here in Puerto Rico. Let me know if you and the band are looking for good places to eat. Awesome, man. Thank you. I will. Super great, Dave, as always. Guitopia chat Saturday. No, it's not Saturday. If you look, I think it's on the front page of Guitopia. It might be in the chat archive as well. There's always the times listed, and it says that we're going to be doing it Sunday at 11 Eastern. And I will be sending out another newsletter probably Saturday morning, just letting people know that again. But you can always find it on the front page of Guitopia or on the chat No, I'm sorry, not the chat archive. The live chat page is where the date and the time will be. It'll say next chat coming here. If I have it even figured out. Some weeks it takes me a little while to figure out my schedule. But I think it's up there now. Maybe not. Anyway, guys, let's call it a night. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining me. It was informative. Again, really, really cool thing. If you are also interested in using your actual amp silently, that's what we're trying to figure out here, which is the best way to do that. So we've got a lot more testing coming as soon as the gear comes in, and I'll certainly let everybody know for sure. Used to hang at your open counseling at MI. Oh, very cool, man. Very cool. Glad to see you. Thanks for coming, Larry. Thanks for coming, Billy. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great rest of your night, and I will let you know. Again, follow the Guitopia page here. Again, join us at Guitopia.com. That's where all of it goes down. And I'll let you know whenever we're going to do the next one, hopefully soon. All right, everybody, have a great night. Talk to you soon. Take care.